I've been losing my motivation to do this. Honestly, everything seems quite futile. The world seems utterly absurd. I have little faith in people. I don't feel like I can trust people. I'd like to be just away from everyone. And that makes me sad because I do like connecting with people. I do like having relationships. But it seems like everybody's lost their mind. The world is so fragmented and distracted by politics. They've lost touch with fundamental things. I think the average person is just so disconnected. From reality. When I hear about the Vancouver City Parks Board banning some event based on Harry Potter, something happening in the park, the city park, based on Harry Potter. And the board, which is presumably paid for, I'm not sure, I don't think it's volunteer, paid for by the taxpayer dollars, and unanimously vetoing the event, canceling the event, because they don't like J.K. Rowling. To me, the absurdity of that is insane. Also, yesterday, this fellow Billboard Chris, who also speaks out against the medicalization and transitioning of children and adolescents below the age of consent, when he went to the Parliament buildings to speak to members of the legislature, the leader of the Conservative Party, John Rustad, banned the Conservative MPs from even listening to what Chris had to say. I don't understand how these people can even look themselves in the mirror. I generally think of myself, I know that I am a compassionate, considerate person. None of that stuff is about compassion. It's about censorship. It's about control of thought. It's fascism. The supposed people who are against, the people who are supposedly against fascism are the ones that are bringing it about, who are behaving in fascistic ways, where only their opinions are the right ones. And they terrorize and seek to stamp out any other voices. The last people doing this should be politicians, who are supposed to reflect the people and the people's voices. Saying that an MP of a party cannot attend an educational seminar that reflects the opinions of many people in British Columbia is fascistic. It makes me want to run screaming from this province. I just want to work and create and solve problems, write, build. But I literally feel paralyzed because of this current state of affairs, the state of the world that demonizes me because of my skin color and my sex. I'm a minority. As a white-skinned person, I'm a minority in this world. And my whiteness does not give me any power. If ever there was people that had power that happened to be white, it was because they were elite. They weren't the hard-working sods that built this country. As I move about in my small town, I see more and more people that are imported from other cultures. And I don't like it. Especially since I know that the government hands them out money. Why do they deserve Canadian taxpayer dollars? They don't. These are not all asylum seekers. And the government is incredibly light on crime when these people do commit crimes. I've been trying not to pay attention to these kind of things because it's so upsetting. It's so upsetting how Canada, the infrastructure, the culture is being eroded so rapidly. How our government is giving the huge sums of money that it takes from us, sending it to Ukraine, sending it to Africa, sending it to all these places for the most ludicrous things. Apparently they've lost a list of foreign nationals that have committed heinous crimes. They've just accidentally lost that list of people. There's so many people that can barely speak English that are in our government now. It's beyond words. I don't want to be angry at other people from other countries. But when people come here, they should integrate. And they shouldn't get special treatment. It feels like a dystopian nightmare for many reasons. I'm concerned that the developments around digital identity and a system that collates all of the data on me into one source will be used against me. Just like it was, or just like it was necessary to have a ID for the vaccination, which I did not participate in. And therefore I wasn't able to work in the field that I had worked for many years. Wasn't able to go out, go on the bus, do a bunch of things, just live my life, go into stores, go into restaurants, go into the medical clinic. I'm still banned from life from the medical clinic. That is the only one that serves my community. Because several years ago, I refused to wear a mask. I told them that the mask makes me feel claustrophobic, and that a doctor had already pardoned me from wearing a mask. They threatened to call the police. I was just talking with them. I wasn't violent, I wasn't aggressive. But I was told that the clinic is private. And yet they're taking taxpayer dollars. They have an agreement with the province to provide those services. But then when I say that they are not providing them because they're discriminating against me, oh well, they're a private clinic so they can do whatever they want. And it seems like this is the trajectory where the government will just embolden companies to do their dirty work. It's a very ugly trajectory that we're on. And it makes me want to go far away from it, to leave the country, to go to South America, to go somewhere where they don't buy all this bullshit. Somewhere they just leave you alone. The layers of rage and frustration within me over many years from my parents to the school system to the joke of the medical system that I worked in. The unions that required me paying a lot of money to be able to work, not an option. Have to be part of the union, have to pay those union dues. And then when I needed them, they rolled over for the employer. So many times in my life, I've seen injustice. I've seen bullshit. On and on, it's encouraged me to disengage from everything. To not participate and not contribute. And I think I'm a strong person. How many of the people are on the street using drugs, just kind of castaway people, are there because they felt the system failed them. They had a hard time in school. They were treated unkindly or unjustly. And they tried to escape or just let off some steam. But it became a habit. And it took them down a very bad road. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that that hasn't happened to me. Not that I haven't had challenge with some addictive type behaviors. I smoked cigarettes for many years. And that was bad enough. But fortunately, I've never gotten into alcohol or hard drugs, because I think those are very difficult to come back from. They're very difficult to escape, and they ruin the brain and nervous system. They ruin one's health. Incapacity to function. I think it's a very slippery slope. And again, our government does nothing but enable that slippery slope downward. They're not offering rehabilitation. They're offering free drugs under the guise of harm reduction. These people are disgusting liars. These politicians are the worst kind of people. They're parasites. They're akin to demons. Our world is infested by demons. Call them what you like, but I don't think any of the words accurately describe how vile and evil they are. We shouldn't expect rational discussions from them, and we should no way entrust anything to them. The system needs to be entirely overhauled. All the money needs to be removed. All of their actions need to be transparent and traced. Put them on a digital ID. Surveil them. That's who needs surveillance, not the average person just trying to go about their life. It's all I can do to not rage, to not want to be violent. I'm not stupid. I'm not unhinged. But I am observant and aware. At this point, I feel like an animal in a leg hold trap, contemplating chewing its own leg off so that it can get away. I could probably get on a plane right now and go to a country where I wouldn't have to deal with this bullshit. But I'd probably have to leave all my worldly possessions behind because of the cost of transporting them there. Wouldn't be worth it. I could probably buy most of the things in that other country for the same amount of money. Or less. But I have things that are personal things. Large paintings that I've done. Journals and books. Favorite pieces of furniture. I shouldn't have to leave the country that I was born in because of evil, narcissistic, ideological politicians destroying the country from within. And it also infuriates me when people who I thought had some sense are caught up in things like the flat earth theory. And being a keyboard warrior. It's like so many people have been corralled into this cyber boxing arena. No different from video games. It seems like an outlet for frustrations, but it's not. It's futile. It's exactly how it's been designed. Bred in circuses. The number of people who follow sports, even people that are concerned about these things as I am, and then they're posting sports stuff on their social media. I don't get it. To me, it's so obvious that sports are a complete distraction, which is exactly why they hype them and spend so much money on them. Why they're the modern day Colosseum, bred in the circuses. It makes me sad to see how captured so many people are. I don't know what the solution is. I go back and forth between concern for myself and concern for the world. And that's just who I am. It's not all about me. Of course, it would be ridiculous to think that I would have no thoughts about my own safety and security. That's normal. But often I find I'm even more concerned for the world. I think because of my spiritual practice, I'm accepting that I will die, I'll pass away one way or another. I would just like to feel some peace and security at the end. I would like it to be in some cabin in the woods. I just want to hear birds and have fresh air. Not be in a hospital. Not be around those psychos. I have zero trust of the medical system. It doesn't surprise me that it's come out that Canada is harvesting the organs of people that they've medically euthanized. Knowing that we have medical administrators like Bonnie Henry and Theresa Tam, who are both puppets of the UN, the WHO. They're both sick, narcissistic, evil people. And there's so many like them in that system. Sitting at desks, getting hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, making decisions for vast swaths of people. Truly don't understand other than the conclusion that they're just evil. I don't think it's possible that if they actually did have a conscience, that they wouldn't see how harmful their policies and mandates are. And it seems to me, when they speak, that they're being very performative. They're disingenuine, inauthentic people. They're liars. I believe they're psychopaths. They're fueled by power and ego and money. And the bulk of humanity has been far too compliant and far too passive when it comes to dealing with these people. It's almost like we need to go back to a previous time where people got dragged out into the street and beheaded. To be honest, I wouldn't like to see that. But such things happen when problems get so far out of hand. When people sit on their hands for too long, and it requires extreme correction. I don't even see that happening because, as I say, most people are behaving like NPCs. Most people have their head in the sand. Most people aren't outraged that the health officials are wanting to kill 400 ostriches just because they suspect that they might have some bird flu. That's the story, at least. Because they refuse to test them. And these birds have the purpose and intent of providing medical immunity, but in a way that doesn't require vaccinations and all the expensive interventions. So it seems that it very well could be motivated by Big Pharma pulling the strings within our government and within our government organizations. Again, evil and enablers. All of the foot soldiers that enable this. All the RSMP, they're participating in this. Cowards, despicable human beings. Supposedly so many people believed the story of genocide of the Jews in World War II. And that it was many of the foot soldiers just doing their jobs which enabled it. And yet today, we have an incredible amount of bootlicking foot soldiers and useful idiots. People who are not only myopic, not seeing a bigger picture, but also just regurgitating the mainstream narrative of the media that is bought and paid for by the liberal government. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to not see through it? The stories and the issues go on and on. I'm barely scratching the surface. Again, because I don't pay attention to it for the most part. Because when I do, it disgusts me and nauseates me. How dreadful it is. How bad it's become. And the trajectory it's heading in. I just want out. I want nothing to do with it. It's a huge distraction from me being a productive person in the world, actually contributing to the world being a better place. These people do not want the world to be a better place. They want to destroy it and remake it along their ideological lines. And I think most of them don't even know what that is. They're just the happy foot soldiers following orders. It's terrifying that people can lose their souls, their integrity, so easily. And people think everything is black and white. You're either with the Jews or you're with the Muslims. No. They're both idiots. The Zionists are narcissists. And any war that's going on there, they have brought on themselves. They've annexed that land. They've put up huge walls. They've restricted trade and supplies to Palestinians for years and years and years. All of that land was Palestine before the Balfour Declaration in, I believe, 1917. maybe 1914, around then. All of that land was Palestine. Modern day Jews are not the biblical Jews. Modern day Israel is not the biblical Israel. Again, the lies on lies on lies on lies. Clearly, Hamas is evil. Clearly. Clearly, Islam is a backward, primitive faith. No intelligent, God-loving people would do what Muslims seem to accept. Brutality, vengeance, abuse. It's disgusting and it's not compatible with Western values. And why are we even talking about it in Canada? Canadian politicians have dragged us into this. It's insane. It's ludicrous. Canadians should have nothing to do with it. I don't think Canada needs to be a Christian nation, although it was built by Christians, primarily. But the Western values are what our society is built upon. Democratic values, egalitarian values that have come from a rich history, a European gestalt that formed over hundreds of years, centuries, by many intelligent people. And now we're just throwing that in the trash. It's essentially being shat on by people from other cultures that don't share our values. And our politicians are enabling it. Because they're bought off by the UN. And the UN's agenda is for them to be the one world government, where they get to debank you if you don't want their vaccines funded by Bill Gates. The entire thing is sick and evil. And there's so many moving parts and there's so many aspects to it. Any sane person just dipping their toe in all of the information that is credible, that is backed by evidence. Any sane person just dipping their toe in would be aghast at how corrupt and evil this human-made world is. If God brought the flood because the world was evil, what must it have been like to be worse than it is now? I pray for an intervention. I don't see how this world can get out of this mess without some miracle. And I won't be quick to buy some Project Bluebeam psyop. My intuition is too good. That's all I'm left with is faith. I don't know what else I can do. Everywhere I look in this world, I see things that dishearten me. Perhaps if I went to another country, it could be different. So I feel that's what I'm left with. Move out of the country I was born in. And pray to God for a miracle.